There we go.
Let's do it.
Well, no countdown. We are live. I think
we are live. We are live. I was waiting for the intro music and stuff like that.
Okay. No intro.
Well, then in that case, that game happened. So in that case, let's do the whole thing live. We don't need to do the usual intro. If you end up joining us, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. But the Washington Commanders gave you no reason to be here, quite frankly. 48-18 beatdown at the New England Patriots from start to finish, an ass whooping, honestly. And we'll get into some positives. There were some positives. It is preseason. There were 30 players that did not play for us, a lot of starters, but a whole lot of negatives as well, to be totally honest. And so without further ado, K-Dot, once again, 48-18 preseason game one. We had the joint practice with the New England Patriots. It just looked like two totally different teams out there. Your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, it's you could hear B. Mitch and Chick talk about it the entire damn game was just the energy levels between the two sides. And that's something that it's something that's kind of surprised me a little bit at times over the course of the Dan Quinn period, because it just doesn't seem like anything would be the case. But every once in a while, they either come out kind of flat. Usually over the course of like last season, they kind of get it back. But just today, it just felt like, I think the lack of the amount of starters that were here in this particular game probably had a huge impact on just energy level. But yeah, that was glaring. In New England, like they came to play. Washington did not necessarily look like they came to play in all facets of the game. Definitely, I mean, like I said before going into this game, it's preseason week one. Ain't a whole lot I'm really taking from this and going forward. I mean, there are a few things that I can look at as far from the positive standpoint, a few things I can look at from the negative standpoint. But overall, I don't think it necessarily did any huge damning things for us other than maybe one or two people.
Yeah, well, before we even get to the positives, because there were some, there were, just on the coaching, right? Like that is actually where I'm going with this, which is that I know we had the 30 people. I get it. And I see a lot of people saying it's just preseason, and I agree to a large extent. But to come out that unprepared, to be that uninspired, and to just sort of roll over is not at all what the identity of this team is. Anybody, anywhere, anytime. Last I checked, anytime includes the preseason, right? Last I checked, anybody would include the New England Patriots, and anywhere would include Gillette Stadium. So yeah, was it preseason? Yes. But what have we been doing in training camp? Right? Like, what have these guys been doing to try and make this team?
Yeah.
So from that perspective, right, people are playing for their NFL livelihoods right now. I was disappointed. I mean, and that I think is preparing these guys to play and making sure that they're aware. New England Patriots are ready. I know they trotted out their starters. So if you want to play that game, that's fine. It was 14-0 at that point, but then they were pulled. Right? And so after that, the score is 34-18. They thoroughly outplayed us. So I wanted to express my disappointment and just the coaching, frankly, because the players, they'll be trying their best. They're going to have moments where it's not going well, but it looked totally unprepared. And so, yeah, just disappointed. It's my raw reaction. Very disappointed, man.
I'm not feeling that low, at least on anything that's happened, but I know this is the first football that everybody's seen for quite some time for our particular team, and especially the highs of last year. And I get it. There was a dud out there tonight. There's no getting around it. I just think that the way I look at this team and the way I look at it constructed, and I think that the way that I look at it colors. So the way I feel about anything, which is like my kind of even kill, still looking at what it is as far as the timeline of this team, and also looking at like what happened last year compared to where we are right now. This is still a team in which we are really trying to figure out who the hell we are in the sense of like from a talent standpoint. And when you're at that stage where you're signing a lot of 1 or 2 year vets for close to minimum, and you're trying to get, it usually means your depth isn't all that great, or at least your depth is going to be a situation in which there are those guys that are fighting for their jobs. But I mean, you look across this team, there are a lot of those dudes who've been fighting for their jobs for quite some fucking time. You look at Chris Moore out there, who's probably one of the negative names, except for the one. Well, no, he dropped that one. So but you look at Chris Moore and it's like, oh, Chris Moore. Oh yeah, 10-year pro. Like he's right. So it's like, or KJ Osborne. Yeah. cast off from New England, even though he had a pretty decent game. It's just you're getting to a point where it's like these are the guys that are sort of the retreads from other, and they're the ones that were out there playing alongside a lot of guys that don't have any experience or lack of a lot of experience. It's just, and then also you get some of the guys that might have been playing here in this particular game, who they're going to be playing with when it comes from a lineup standpoint. At least one or two of them are going to be more with the starters. You look at Johnny Newton. It's a lot. It's an uneven balance of who it is that we have in there playing. And I think that like what it is, the coaches and everything, I understand from a motivation standpoint or from an energy standpoint being really, really critical. But everything else, I mean, I look at the preseason, like you're going to take some of the wins, you're going to take some of the losses as far as like what it is you can glean out of it. And after tonight, I mean, I got a good portion of stuff that I'm like, okay, that's good to at least look at, or at least that's something I'm going to be following throughout the through line of this preseason. But I've never really given a shit about the outcomes of these games at all. And at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I know the scores and everything else, and if New England wants to hang their hats on whatever, I mean, shit, I think we beat them last preseason. Definitely wasn't like that, but it's at the end of the day, it's like Tay Martin and Brooks. I mean, I'd say it's even beyond that. There were more guys. Are we getting into positives?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, all right.
Go wherever you want.
First positive. Travion Henderson's a beast. Like we were right.
We were right.
We were right. Yeah, boy, he's gonna be a problem in this league. And congratulations on your pick. It'll be a lot better than your Panthers. Outside of that, Trey Amos, active, eager, really liked seeing it, physical when he needed to be. That's a dude that, like, all right, after what it is I saw tonight from Trey Amos, if they were to say, if they need to rest the starters going forward, I think he might have even qualified for that. But I just want to see him play some more. I like the mentality I'm saying, but I think I've seen enough. Johnny Newton, put it on the card. Both me and you, we wanted to see some sort of interior pressure. Newton was out there, and the man, he looked like he was playing above everybody else that was out there at certain points. So, like, that's what you wanted to see from Newton, is that, okay, son, you're taking that next step. Do you look better than the other people on the field? He did in those moments that he was on there. So that's definitely a positive looking forward as far as from a Johnny Newton standpoint. Your boy Bill, hard runner.
Look good.
He looked good. Can't necessarily say all the run blocking was great, but he did make some stuff happen when he needed to have happen, and more physical than I expected to be. And the big thing, the huge thing for me, was him receiving out of the backfield. Holy shit. If this is in your arsenal, son, then we've unlocked something new. Like, what? I think I made fun of you because he was fifth on the depth chart.
Nice.
He looked first in the thoughts and minds of a lot of people, at least tonight. Also Josh Connolly on that side of the offensive line, like, pass pro for the most part, I thought was pretty decent this evening.
I agree.
Overall. Especially knowing like the changes and stuff that's going to happen with the offensive line. Like I'm 2 thumbs up for me, or at least 1 thumb up for me. But yeah, Connolly side of the line was definitely good. But Bill being receiving back with that speed, when you look at what it is they want to do in that Cliff Kingsbury offense, you saw it kind of early on. And we'll get to why maybe we've seen more of that early on. But like the short game or trying to play like the yak game, if Bill's going to be part of that dude was catching that ball and just moving north-south immediately. Like, that's what I love to fucking see. Like, if you give that man a few opportunities with that sort of speed, you might have yourself a game breaker in that way. So I'm just saying, like, that looked good to me. But yeah, Noah Igbenogany, son, you've crossed over. You're a dude. You're strictly a dude. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that Mikey Sanders still was here, I'd be completely solidified with you being our starting corner, and like I wouldn't think nothing of it. Like,
he also gives us the opportunity to, in case Lattimore is still struggling for whatever reason with whatever injury, you can push Sanders still out wide again, and Noah can play the slot again. So he gives you that 100%. Flexibility.
That from a depth standpoint at corner is something that we've been like searching for, right? So like, if right now we know, hey, if it ain't Trey, who we know he'll have his rung as far as a defensive back, you know he's going to struggle. All those guys will struggle at some point, right? Mikey struggled at some points last year. But like, at the end of the day, we know they know what they know in Mike. Marshawn, we've seen what you're capable of doing in this league. And having Noah just around to be there to supplement that, fucking awesome. Love to see that. Jeremy Reeves, brother.
That was
more than special teams guru, man. Like, much more than special teams guy.
And that flag was horseshit.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah,
that was a great hit. Oh,
wonderful hit. I loved it. Although, you know, if we're going to talk about losers, broadcast team. I mean, always preseason is kind of rough. Look, Mikey Sanders, love you, brother. I did not tune in for the Mikey Sanders podcast episode. Like, whatever the fuck they were doing on that sideline for that. God damn. But it's like, what happened? I want to see the play. But all right, we're gonna listen down. So Mikey, Jeremy Reeves, great. As far as the Tay Martin, good. Cager had that good catch. I remember I named the three guys out of Luke, Michael Gallup, and Jalen Lane. I wanted to see somebody get a first down. Gallup, 2 of them. Love you, brother. He looked good in those moments that he was out there. There's also somebody else I'm forgetting on the Ja'Cory Brooks. Ja'Cory Brooks. Yeah, come
Going
on,
back
man. Yeah, Ja'Cory Brooks. He showed out. So, like, as far as that from a wide receiver standpoint, you ain't got Debo really playing. I didn't really see Luke.
Luke actually walked to the locker room.
Is that what that? Okay, yeah. All right. I did not notice. I didn't see it. So yeah, with Luke not really being to see what it is that I saw out of that motley crew of receivers. Chris Moore, brother, I wish you the best in your future endeavors. Beyond that, I did see some things from Cager. I did see some things from Brooks. I did see some things from Martin that at least made me say, all right, I'm excited to see them play some more in the preseason. I just want to see if there's like some consistency that starts to build. Because what Brooks was 5 for 5, I think last time anybody said anything. Yeah. So like if they're going to continue to be consistent on that level, then maybe you have something there. Because you could definitely see without Terry McLaurin being there, without I appreciated them trying to push the ball down the field, at least to some degree. There was at least a lot more success with one of the quarterbacks than there was the other quarterback when it comes to that. And that was also something that goes in the disappointing column. I mean, we can get through more negatives. I'm sure we got plenty more of those. There's one big name that I'm holding on to, but yeah, I mean, I think that's it for positives.
Yeah. A couple notes on a few of the guys you had mentioned. So Trey Amos, they tried a little fade ball over into the end zone to Matt Collins. Trey Amos was all over that. And then I think it was 1st or 2nd and goal, and he gets a tackle for loss on Ramondre Stevenson's solo. That was which I was just like, man, this guy is just having a great game. You mentioned Jeremy Reeves. He also had a pass breakup in the end zone. He was everywhere on solo tackles. He had the 3rd down tackle. He had the clean hit that got flagged wrongly. He just played great for a guy that we know is the special teams guy. That's like Tress Way's best friend and best buddy. He showed out, man. Like he looks like he wants some snaps over at that safety position. Tyler Owens still fast, but Travion Henderson got him. He got him on that play. And I think Tyler Owens even got flagged once.
He did.
Dominique Hampton also got flagged. And that was on a nice Travion Henderson run, and it was a face mask. So like a lot of mental errors. I want to say we finished with 13 flags for 98 yards. Right? That's just undisciplined football. So Trey Amos, we had mentioned. Josh Connerly was really good. And what Mental Fortitude said, because I was so interested in seeing the wide receivers, right, kid? I've showed this comment a few times now. That Tay Martin, to me, was the big winner, actually, out of anybody, because he was the first wide receiver to settle down everybody else, right? Like there were a few drops early on, lack of separation early on. Tay Martin was the guy that I think really the moment it hit his hands, he caught it. That's all I was asking for when we did the preview episode. Yeah, he did that. Ja'Cory Brooks followed suit. I know he's had up and down moments in camp. If he can develop consistency, well, you like the frame, right? You like the ability to get down and catch that ball. And he will certainly have the vertical ability to be able to catch them as well. So that's an undrafted free agent to certainly look out for at wide receiver. More time and more opportunities to come for these guys. Those are the early winners. Chris Moore, like you said, certainly not a winner tonight. He had a rough outing for sure. And the other guys didn't really create a whole lot of separation, unfortunately. Another switching to losers for a sec. Yeah. I have Ben Sinnott listed here. I know that he had that catch early on, but he looked startled by that ball. He didn't look ready for it. And then there was a miscommunication. I don't know whether to put that on Sam or whether to put that on Ben, but that miscommunication across the middle is he doesn't look confident right now. And so I'm curious to see how he does the rest of preseason. Still have hopes for the kid. Obviously, I'm not writing him off after one preseason game. Just saying I was disappointed in him
Yeah.
today. And I'm hoping for more in the coming, practices and games, because I could certainly see us needing him this season. So just want to mention Ben Sinnott, unfortunately, in that column as well, K. Dot.
No, you should. I mean, the
Ooh, and this was not great. Biggers does not like tackling.
it doesn't look like it.
No.
I also,
Yeah.
I just want to continue to mention Michael Gallup, because I do actually
Sure.
think he got targeted a lot. It wasn't connected a lot, and I think that was a lot more on quarterbacks than I had anything to do with him. Ben Sinnott, there was a certain aspect of Sam was just off in some of his throws, especially to Ben, and at least one of those targets. But yeah, Hartman did not look good tonight. He just looked, he was way too jittery and sailing things that he didn't need to sail. The best thing that I thought he did at one point was that run, that scramble that he got. I was like, all right, show off your mobility a bit, son. But overall, it just looked like if there was anybody that looked a little too eager or maybe a little too rushed or not comfortable, it was probably him. As soon as Johnson came in, I know they were in the 2-minute offense, but he was moving the ball pretty quick. But once again, 2-minute offense, you're not entirely sure.
Yeah, I agree.
But the thing with Ben is, like I said in the preview, it's not, Ben can't just have an okay game. He's got to gap these guys. And like, if I'm going to remember what happened tonight, I'm going to remember that Cole Turner catch more than I'm going to remember anything that Ben Sinnott did. I might even remember that Colson Yankoff fucking target more than I'm remembering anything that Ben Sinnott did. So like, that's your issue, Ben, is like the thing was that I'm looking at there and they gave him ample opportunity. I will say early on I think it was on teams. It was like, it might've been in the first or second. I think it might've been a kickoff return. I did see it look like he was banged up coming off the field, and nobody really paid attention or said anything about it. But it was something that I noticed that he was like kind of calling. And the reason I noticed it was like, when I'm hearing things last year as far as Ben not necessarily being pro ready, I've never really, anytime I see a player like asking for his replacement, I've never loved it. Like, I've just never loved seeing it. I know it's a perfectly fine thing to do. I just don't. Anytime I see it, it's like, what's going on there? Huh? So like, I did notice that. So I don't know, maybe that has any play in it, but none of it matters. Because at the end of the day, like I said, where you are and where you got drafted and what it is they thought, or what it is we've all thought about you, it's not that you're supposed to be keeping in line with these guys. You've got to surpass them. We already know Zach Ertz is a lock. We already know John Bates, who was one of those scratches, is a lock. You, sir, are in complete competition with Cole Turner and Colson Yankoff. And right now, Turner has the highlight tonight, not Ben. That's a problem for you, Ben. And they gave you. One thing I will say about this coaching staff, especially in preseason, they do give some of these guys an opportunity to really prove it. They don't let them, they keep them out there until they fuck it up. Like, you look at Bill. Until Bill had the false start, they were riding the hot hand. The moment he gets that, come get the fuck off, get off the field.
He also was in the blue tent as well.
That's fair. That's fair. But there is an element of like, they will let you, they do let these guys go out there and kind of prove like, hey, what do you have? We're going to give you your opportunities. Ben had them. They just weren't connected with. Some was on Sam, but once again, fair or not fair, Ben's got to produce, and he's got to produce at a length to make anybody feel any sort of way about him being the heir apparent to Zach Ertz.
Yeah. We will see what happens with Ben Sinnott. He's got to gap them. He's got to widen that gap to make sure that it's obvious that he is the final tight end on this roster. I wanted to also point out, just on the subject of Bill, I know we're sort of bouncing back and forth over here. He did not have a single bad run. Like, his very first run was, you had two different guys penetrating, and he managed to get to the outside with bursts we're not used to seeing in our backfield, and he got a yard. And it was just 1 yard, but he should have lost 3, right? Like, that was just expected yards we frankly were not expecting. We ended up getting more out of that. Then he has a 9-yard gain. The blocking was not great, so you could see that it was going to be difficult for him. But when he did make that cut, or 2, because he had to make a second one at times, he looked good. The false start happens, like you said, K-Dot. They end up just saying, hey, take a breather. You're going to be out for a little bit now, right? So just wanted to, hats off to Bill one more time. It was, and one more thing, Chris Rodriguez. There was one play where Josh Johnson ends up connecting with Michael Gallup for a first down. the blitz pickup Chris Rodriguez had was textbook. It was beautiful. That's how you make a team, right? Like it was on 3rd and 6. It was really, really nice to see. And he had a couple nice runs himself. Can we
unsexy but dependable. You're not getting lights out, but you're getting enough. You know, you're getting effort.
Yeah. Can we let's talk about the special teams, because we haven't even really
trust me, I've been holding on to that.
Focused on the special teams yet. We're 20 minutes into this thing. Oh my God.
Like, first and foremost, Matt Gay, I said your name, which means you fucked up. Okay. I said I didn't want to say your name. I'm saying your name. You fucked it up. Like everyone want to point to the contract as being something that's like, maybe we've solidified the kicking position. Okay. I don't feel good about it. And I'll tell you, after that miss, I didn't feel good about a goddamn thing. You know what I did feel good about? The Patriots fucking rookie kicker, whatever the fuck they got. Like that motherfucker look good. Wherever that fucking kicker, I don't even know what the fuck it is. But I did not like what I saw. Also, the kick to even though it was just great by Henderson, I gotta blame Matt Gay some way for the way that ball came down and just allowed him to take off the way it took off. I mean, you're getting some of that smoke. But overall, for a unit that has been one that, like, I've really appreciated, and you know that we have some standouts there on that special teams unit, being the Reeves, being a Nick Ballore, what have you. That was atrocious.
Yeah. Oh, it was absolutely horrible. By the way, when Travion Henderson, you won't believe me, obviously, but the moment he touched it on the opening kickoff, and I saw the way the blocking was set up, like you could just, I was like, oh, he's gone.
Mitchell knew.
Yeah, exactly.
Mitchell
knew. The moment he was at the 5-yard line, I was like, he's gone.
It's all
right. And there it was 7-0. Like it just set up perfectly. And we know how fast he is when we were doing our running back draft preview. We were just like, there's no chance we're catching him. The best thing Matt Gay did on that play was not, and B Mitch said this, was not try and tackle him, because he could have pulled up his hammy and then all of a sudden you're just in this compromised position yet again.
Yeah.
But yeah, the special teams was horrible, because then Antonio Gibson, former commander, rips off a 62-yarder. Then we have an illegal formation on a different kick. I mean, this stuff, you literally could not make this stuff up. Like it was just from start to finish, completely undisciplined.
Yeah.
Anyone could run for free. I think I could have gotten to the 20, right? Like that's crazy. That's crazy that even I could get to the 20. That's just how easy it was and how much space there was on special teams. And I know Larry Izzo's furious about that. I'm not about to be like he's a bad special teams coach, but it was bad tonight. It was really, really bad tonight. And then the missed kick. Here we go again. There is some uncertainty. He did make up for it. He ended up making his chip shot later on, but we got to develop some trust in our kickers. And so you just got to hit your kicks, man. Especially when, do you know who John Parker Romo is?
I know now.
Yeah, exactly. 57-yarder. Yeah. Okay. So like no one had heard of him until he hit that kick. And it was further than yours, Matt Gay. So like, yeah, ways to go. Certain ways to go on special teams. That was an unmitigated disaster tonight, special teams.
But yeah, it was bad all the way. Like that's the one unit that I was just like, I don't see a lot of positives here.
Yeah.
Like Tress Way is going to be Tress Way, and that was about it. Like a couple good punts, though that one really giant bounce that happened. But yeah, man, the special teams unit itself, like I don't know, I couldn't really see who was doing what. I don't know what the rotations look like or what the snap counts look like on special teams. I know that like in preseason they usually try to throw a lot of the young cats out there, so I'm not entirely sure like who of the regulars, the guys that we really need to expect they're going to be out there, were out there. I'd probably have to look at the all 22 or look at the snap counts, but wasn't great.
It wasn't great. The New England Patriots, 31 carries, 153 yards. It's 5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
That's not great. Especially when run defense was an Achilles heel last season. Now, I will now pivot for a moment and say we were missing a lot of our guys. It obviously looks a bit. This is such a good point for mental fortitude. I'm just seeing this little toss play to the left. It was the same play in the fourth quarter twice. And they had two different backs score on it. Larison and Jennings, I want to say.
Yeah.
Literally the same play. Like, you can't set the edge to save our lives.
No.
Now, once again, back to the point. It is a lot of backups. I want to see what it looks like with Deron Payne, with Javon Kinlaw, with Dietrich Wise, with all these guys, that we brought in, with Johnny Newton rotating with them. Of course, I want to see that. The depth is discouraging. It's to K-Dot's point, right? You're signing 1-year deals, 2-year deals with guys that you're just like, please be a body here. But it's discouraging. You need these guys to stay healthy to feel like you can stop the run, right? And so that was discouraging to see tonight, knowing that still appears to be an issue. I will reserve judgment ultimately until the starters actually get out there for that one, at least.
And I think that's the wisest choice. But I once again, got to remember, as far as coloring this year and the differences
coaches in the house
from last year to this year, there was one thing that we did have last year that is uniquely special, which is with the health of the football team overall last year was pretty fucking good over the course of that year. Usually year in and year out, you're not going to have that. But the idea is that, like, if you look at that football team, if we have a rash of injuries that a lot of other teams had, or even a modicum near that, last season looks a lot fucking different. I just want to make sure everybody realizes that too. Like, there was a lot of things that bounced our way last year, which allowed us to be in an NFC Championship game that nobody expected us to be in. So, like, that's part of those things what made last year so fucking incredible, was that you're dealing with a team where you're starting out with a group of guys that you look on paper and you're like, well, they're not that talented, right? And then you add to the fact that, like, if you're not that talented with the core group, what the fuck does your depth look like? There's going to be a drop off. So, like, the fact is that we were able to stem from a few things last year because, once again, the talent level being a certain degree, maybe the drop off wasn't entirely too much for certain positions, but overall, with the health that we had, we were able to put forth our best effort pretty much every fucking week. So, like, this year, I still think we're in a similar boat. Certain positions might have a little more depth than we had last year. I'd look at offensive line. Case in point, we like the pass pro tonight, right?
Right.
Defensive line is going to be something that I would say that, like, you definitely don't necessarily want to judge them this time. I mean, Javonte Jean-Baptiste, Dietrich Wise, Dorrance Armstrong, Deron Payne, all out.
Those are the big boys.
Those are, come on. Like, without those guys being there, like, what are you really expecting? You don't have Javon Kinlaw there. You do not have Von Miller there. Like, that's the talent is left.
Bobby and Frankie being able to roll them around as well really helps.
Right. So, like, so that part of it is just like, it's one of those things where, like, once again, week 1 preseason, not to mention what we're not really used to here in Washington are, because of the success of the team last year, nobody needs to play, right? There's not a whole lot we need to see. So, like, I know it's a bummer as far as waiting all this time to watch football, and, like, that's what you get. But as I told everybody in the preview, you probably should have had Instagram looking at ass and thighs, because that's the only thing that was going to save you, because this is what usually happens, especially when you knew, hey, not a lot of guys are going to be playing, and at the end of the day, we don't have a lot of guys you can really do that with, which is why when you talk about, like, a Terry McLaurin's importance to the team, that's what you're talking about. It's like, you need talent on its team. You need it anywhere you can find it.
Yeah, absolutely. On the subject of Terry McLaurin, do you put any stock in the receiver performances and any sort of connection to negotiations with Terry? Just ask the question.
No, once
again,
and
I don't either, just to be clear.
Not right now. Like, if it was Jaden out there and this was the outcome, okay. But, like, at this particular point, I didn't see the football team I'm going to see tonight. Like, this is not the football team. Like, this is not who we're going to see on every Sunday. Like, I didn't see that team out there today.
Yeah, and by the way, we won't be the only team to rest starters. We may be the only team to give up 48 points this week. Like, so that's where a lot of my stuff is like,
right,
guys, you rolled over. Like, that's the truly disappointed bit to me.
That's the thing, but that's the other thing is, like, I will say at certain points of the game, like, okay, I know it was early on that we were seeing it, right? But, like, Jaden, him infectiously having fun on the sideline and stuff, it still felt as though it was kind of the only person I saw that they went to, and I was like, maybe leave him alone, was Bobby Wagner. Like, maybe he was having a particularly bad night. But I'd be really interested to see what the locker room conversation, everything is after this game, because it's just, I don't think anyone's taken this one that personally. Maybe they should, but I just think I do think that there's just a talent discrepancy. And I really do think when you get beyond some of the base layers here on this particular team, you start realizing from a talent standpoint, we are not in the upper echelon of this team, New England included, as far as
that's sort of the point.
Right. So like,
right?
but that's what I need everybody to understand as far as this team. Like when we're talking about this season, right? You have to understand how much luck we had in certain things last year. And I keep going back to health above all else. It will decimate most teams. Look at Detroit. Look at San Francisco. Look at so many teams that they get decimated. We are a team that was scraping and clawing to see whether or not we had any talent. And then we got lucky with the injury thing, and we have a god at quarterback. Okay, then shit starts happening. So, like, this year, there's tape on Jaden that didn't exist last year. The schedule is harder. And usually you don't get that same level of injury luck 2 years in a row. Just call it what it is.
No,
it's the NFL. It's football. It's just one of those things when you're playing a physical game, right? So, like, that's part of it. So, like, no, everyone know. As much as you might like the Laramie Tunsil pickup in the sense of what it meant for a Super Bowl run or Von Miller being here, this team, from a pure talent perspective, is not an NFC championship team. It is an NFC championship team because we have a God playing for us. And what that means, no one will know because he's God playing quarterback.
Well, I appreciate the end of that explanation over there. But no, it's a really good point, right? Like the injury one in particular. Looking back at the Detroit Lions game, we were able to do whatever we wanted to because, well, no one was really playing defense. Right. And some people maybe got fooled by the Sam Darnold thing, but it looks like he just got cold feet, in big moments, because then the very next week against the Rams, the same thing happened for him.
Right.
So, yeah, no, it's an excellent point, K-Dot, and plenty of time to go. So before we wrap up here, I just want to ask you, where to from here, right? So, like, we've got the game Monday night, not this Monday night, but next Monday night against the Cincinnati Bengals. They'll be rolling their starters again. Yep. How do you think we approach that game? Do you think that we do play the starters a little bit? Do you think it's the backups again? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that, like, there were certain questions that need to be kind of answered in this particular game. And I think that some of them feel as though they have been. Like, you're going to want to give Hartman at least another shot. But right now, it doesn't look great, at least him compared to Josh Johnson, unless you really put a lot of stock in what's happening as far as the team chemistry thing. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, like,
no, it's pretty much over, dude. I mean,
well, just in case. You're beautiful, brother. Beautiful. It's just, I would say that, like, there is a certain aspect of, like, we need to see some of the starters out there. Just because we also don't want them all that rusty. You look after week 3 of preseason, if you like, who wants to do that? Plus, there's the gap between week 3 and what it is that the regular season starts with, which is something still fairly new in the grand scheme of things in the NFL. Yeah, against Cincinnati, I'd at least want to see a series or two. Like, I wouldn't mind that at all. Like, I want to see Jaden kind of getting out there and doing whatever. But I want to tell everybody, like, this week going into next week, keep it medium. Keep it medium. This is not, you don't need to be jumping off a cliff.
No.
But I also don't be so flippant about what it is you saw from a
not nothing, not something.
Right. So, like, keep it medium this week, guys. We're still waiting to see. And until we see the starters out there, like, you don't judge anything you're seeing.
I want to be abundantly clear that this has not changed what I feel is the trajectory of this team at all. Right. A preseason game. What I wanted to do is express what the fuck was that? To the night. First time playing football in a while, to have it look that easy for a team that has a brand new coaching staff that had 4 wins last season. That's nuts to me, right? Especially with how well coached this team was last season. It just didn't add up. So that's where I was trying to go with my thoughts over there, but it doesn't change the way I feel about the team. I still think we're going to end up having a nice year. I agree. The next 2 or the next game, we need to play 2 to 3 series for our starters. Just get a bit of momentum. We're at home. You're also playing against the Cincinnati Bengals, who their defense was struggling against the backups for the Philadelphia Eagles. So it represents a good opportunity to feel good about your offense potentially, and your defense has a golden opportunity to, if you get a stop on Cincinnati, who looked just fine in midseason form against the Philadelphia Eagles with their starters against their backups, to recognize that. Well, that could be good to build on before we go ahead and play the Baltimore Ravens in the final preseason game with the joint practices that we have with them as well. So I agree with you, Kate. I think the starters should play a little bit. I would also push back just a bit and say that I think Dan Quinn cares a lot about the way that this looked tonight. And so, yeah, I think he'll take it a little personally.
I don't think that he can afford not to show that. I think as far as like what it means to play like a commander, all that kind of stuff. But I do think that there's a natural human element, which is as much as you might sell yourself on something that matters, when it really doesn't.
Okay. So
yeah. There's I'm sure as soon as I get off of here and I pull up Twitter or whatever and I look at the press conference, Dan's not going to be happy and he shouldn't exude that. I'm just saying, as far from a fan perspective, looking in on this, they need to do what they need to do to rile up the guys and to make sure that some of the young guys understand, like, this is an unacceptable effort level. But I do think that some of this shit is just a lack of talent in certain spots when you look at depth positions.
And we will certainly find out. Thank you guys for joining us. Mental Fortitude in particular, you're commenting. Really appreciate that. And same thing, Coach, albeit under the Saquon Barkley run circumstances. Good to see you too.
Also, shout out Saquon. Look, man, good job saying no. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean.
Yes, I know what you mean.
I was really worried about you going down a road, and I'm like, you might have stopped just in time, brother. Like, I tried to warn RG3. I think you might have it. I'm just saying, hang around Jalen Hurts a little bit more. I know he's unlikable, but do that, and you're going to be right on the right track, man. Right on the right track.
This was the show. This was District Divided DC Sports Podcast, more specifically a Washington Commanders podcast. Thank you for joining us live for this reaction. We have episodes that release Friday, 2 p.m. And as the season rolls along, we're going to have game previews. That's your Friday, 2 p.m. episode. And then we have recap episodes like this, which we'll try and do live, schedules permitting. Otherwise, it comes out Monday, 6 a.m. So we greatly appreciate you guys. Mental Fortitude, you have an excellent night yourself. Appreciate you joining us once again. Hope to see you on some other videos as well. So until then, take it easy, everybody. It's just the preseason. You can express your disappointment, but onwards we go. So until then, take it easy, everybody.
Bye, everybody, and release the Epstein file.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.